Hi SEO Mouse fans, and welcome to a special edition of Whiteboard Plus. This week on Whiteboard Plus, I wanted to talk about building a sharing strategy across multiple platforms, particularly Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and then many others, places like YouTube or an Instagram or Path or a Quora. The issue has become that because Twitter, Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn are all potentially networks at relative scale, and because significant portions of your audience may be on them, or you hope, like with Google+, that they are soon on them so that you get increased rankings and positions in the search results, as well as the direct traffic that comes through that network. The challenge becomes for many marketers, particularly those who are producing content, are doing social media sharing, are in SEO and are hoping to earn the benefits of social media shares, either directly through services like Google+, or indirectly through Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and the rest, via the links that come in from those services after, through other people seeing your content. Where do I share stuff? Which network am I supposed to be on? How many accounts should I have on these? I'm going to try and answer these questions one by one in a simple format, and then in the discussion we can go deeper and talk through some of these in the comments. So the first thing, number one thing people ask all the time is, what am I supposed to be sharing on these? And they particularly ask this around accounts that are connected not to themselves personally, because I think we all have a sense of what we find interesting and useful, what we want to share with our friends, our fans, our followers. The challenge becomes when you're trying to do it for a brand, for a website, for a project you're working on, for a new idea, for a new launch, for something for your company, for your, a firm that you're doing consulting work for. What's the right stuff to be putting out there? And the simplest answer I can possibly give you is whatever plays best with their audience. It is all about what the audience wants. Now, the thing is, the audience will not tell you what it is that they want. And this is a big challenge. They won't tell you, at least explicitly they won't tell you. But you can make some determinations from a few things. Number one is you can look at what other accounts in that world are sharing that's performing well. Most of the social metrics around most of the content that's shared online is actually public knowledge. You can go to the page, go to a blog post and see how many +1s did this get, how many Facebook likes and shares did this get, how many tweets did it get. If you want to use a service for this, OpenSiteExplorer.org, right, is a good one, OpenSiteExplorer.org. So is, by the way, I like this tool a lot because it's very simple, and that is sharedcount.com. Sharedcount.com. Both of these, this one will show you a lot more on the link metrics side, but also has social metrics in there. This one shows you a ton of the social metrics kind of all mashed up together, which is fantastic. So you can get a sense of how many +1s and likes and LinkedIn shares and tweets, et cetera, did a particular piece of content do. You can also, by the way, for those of you who aren't aware, if anything is shared on Bitly, and that could be any URL, so that's like, j.mp or any of the branded ones like mz.cm, which is ours. You can take a Bitly string like this, Bitly / and it'll be like A67B93. And that URL obviously unwraps to something much longer that's been shared on the web. If you take the URL that's been shared on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever it's been shared, and you know the Bitly URL, plug in the plus sign at the end of it, you will be able to see Bitly's information about that URL, how many different people shared it, how many clicks it got. Clicks it got is a great metric that you can't find anywhere else except on Bitly. Actually, I believe the goo.gul, GOO.GL, that URL shortener also provides these metrics, I think also with the plus symbol. So you can take this data and then you can say, aha, this is what's working out there on the web for other people. This is the type of stuff that I can share. But then you need to experiment, right? You got to throw some stuff against the wall and see what's going to stick. Because the key here is not just to do what your competition's doing, but to try and go beyond that. And if it works with your audience, meaning it earns you retweets, it earns you shares, it earns you +1s, it earns you comments and interaction, it earns you a mention on a blog post. Whatever it earns you in the web, that is working. Even if you're not getting necessarily clicks or those conversion rates aren't high, remember that the goal, particularly with social media, but with all forms of content marketing, is to earn visits, earn branding, earn trust, and then later on convert that into an email subscription that you can market to into a user who knows you and likes you and trusts you, so that when they're buying from you, they'll be more likely to convert, those kinds of things. This is a second order effect of marketing. We're taking a long view here anytime you're investing in inbound marketing as a whole. How should I distribute the accounts across the platform? So this is essentially asking, like, should I have a branded page on Facebook? Should I have a branded page on Twitter? Should I just use my personal Twitter account, but then should I have a Google Plus page for my organization? Very simple. What you should definitely have is, for you yourself personally, if you're in the field of marketing, you should almost certainly have all the major ones: Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, and Facebook. Now, for your organization, this is a depends kind of thing. If you have a website that is essentially your website, you run it, you're the primary brand associated with it, and you plan on maintaining that for a long time, this is not something you're building to sell to somebody else, this is not a project that you think might become part of something bigger, great, that's fantastic. You can simply use those personal accounts on those as essentially your marketing platform for your whole site. Good example of this is my wife Geraldine, who uses the Everywhereist account across all the platforms, and that's great. I think she has a personal Facebook profile as well, but she just uses that for her personal friends and family stuff. Fantastic, great. Almost certainly, in most cases where the brand is separate from the person, even in that case, right, where Geraldine's the person and Everywhereist is the brand, you should almost certainly have brand pages on at least 2 or 3 of these, and those are probably Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Claiming pages on those with your brand name, the brand name of whatever it is that you're trying to promote. Could even be a sub-brand within your website. For example, if you're, Ford.com and you have the Ford Escape, I don't even know what Ford's brands are these days, I hope that's one of them, you might have a Facebook page for just the Escape, right? And that would be certainly totally fine. You might have a LinkedIn page, you might have a Twitter account that is, at, I hope they have this, and someone's not going to register it right now, but, at Ford Escape, something like this. Those accounts are where you can promote more of the directly corporate related stuff, and where you might be promoting a lot of the same content. So for example, if you've got a blog, you might be promoting that on your Twitter profile page, personal profile page, and your Twitter brand page. You might be sharing it on your Facebook brand page and on your personal Facebook page. But a lot of the time, there's a lot of stuff, particularly in your personal account, that you wouldn't want to be sharing on there. And there may even be stuff where you say, hey, this is a personal account, and this piece of it is just too commercially focused. Or, I've been sharing a ton of the blog posts that I write for SEO Moz on my personal, Rand page on Facebook with my friends, and they just really don't care, right? They're interested in what I think about football games and how adorable so-and-so's new baby is. They don't really care about me sharing a new Whiteboard Plus, for example. But my Facebook.com SEO Moz page, definitely, right? I should definitely be sharing that over there, although I wonder what the irony is of sharing Google Plus content on Facebook, whether they like that or not. We'll find out. This methodology, by the way, is just a great way to think about this in general, and anytime you do have a sub-brand, I'd recommend grabbing those pages. The reason I'm really recommending the Google Plus one isn't particularly because Google Plus pages are all that powerful right now, but because Google is clearly trying to do some entity association there, and I think over time with Google Search plus Your World, the attempt here is to make it such that the entity, much like in Google Local, where your Google Local listing page is tied very heavily to your business, so too is your web presence, whatever that may be, wherever that might be, is tied to your Google Plus page. So I'd recommend getting one of those. Which items should I share on which platform? Again, this becomes a challenge because a lot of folks think, boy, what I don't want to do is publish a blog post, have it go out via RSS, tweet it, Facebook share it, Google Plus share it, and LinkedIn share it. Oh, and then I might post it as something on another network as well. I recognize that can be frustrating, but a lot of the time there's not tremendous crossover and there's not tremendous temporal crossover. And remember, things that get lost very quickly in most of these streams. Facebook stays around a little longer, Google Plus stays around a little longer, but with Twitter you're talking about a few hour window where something's shared, and after that it kind of disappears from the stream. So I really don't think it's that terrible to say, you know what, I'm going to share on all 4 of these networks simultaneous to when I launch something, particularly if that something is unique and interesting and valuable to all of these. If you're doing more demographic type profiling, right, and you're looking at your Facebook Insights and you're looking at who your fans are in Google+, and you're thinking, hey, it's not relevant to one of these audiences, that's fine. And please, for goodness sake, when you do share this across these 4 platforms, remember that different forms of sharing are appropriate. So Twitter, it's that short form message, trying to get retweeted, saying the most significant thing you can in a short message. Google Plus and Facebook is both a little bit longer form content. Facebook not as much as Google Plus, and Facebook is very focused on media. So if you can do videos, if you can do photos or a photo set, that performs wonderfully there. Google Plus, at least right now, due to the biasing of the people who are on there, seems to do a little better with articles than they do with raw images. You can see people sharing some GIFs. Those will occasionally get popular, but it's a little bit like the top picks on Reddit or something. Whereas Facebook tends to be a lot of personal sharing types of things that perform very well. And then some almost politically minded or brand minded or celebrity focused stuff that performs well on Facebook. What you can learn over time, by the way, is if you're using a service like a Google or a Bitly, you can watch the click-through rates from sharing on these. You know 2 things. You know your fans or your followers, and you know the number of clicks, right? Number of clicks onto a piece of content from a particular network. If you're doing good sharing, right? You want to split these up and have different ones for each of the different platforms that you're sharing on. If you do this religiously for the first little while, what you can figure out is the ratio, right? The click-through rate. And this can tell you which content performs best on which networks and which content doesn't perform well. And if you like, you can do less sharing of the stuff that you know is not going to do well based on the estimated or expected click-through rate or historical click-through rate of that type of content. So if you say, hey, we do a lot of YouTube promotional videos for Ford Escape, and boy, they just, I don't know what it is, they don't play well on Google+. We're going to stop sharing those there, but we are going to start, we get a lot of success when we share articles about gas mileage and environmental stuff. So we're going to keep sharing that on Google+. That audience seems to eat that stuff up. That's what we're going to focus on there. Terrific. Great. This is the kind of stuff that a sophisticated social media marketer can determine over time. You need to stay very diligent in keeping track of those clicks, though. Finally, how are you prioritizing the promotion? So this is essentially, I look at my website and I kind of go, does it really just pay to have, Google Plus here and Facebook there and Twitter? I'm not really saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying here's all the places you can follow us. And because of this, and because consumers have so much choice around this, I think this is often a weak style. What I might recommend doing is learn a little bit more about the audience that's coming to your site and their preferences. There's even some JavaScript widgets that you can put right into the code of your site to tell you what percentage of your visitors are logged into any of these particular networks. And that can give you a sense of, hey, a lot more people than I expected are on Google+. A lot more people than I expected are on LinkedIn. Maybe we should have a connect with us on LinkedIn, and here's our LinkedIn page. You can ask us questions here, and here's our job postings on LinkedIn, etc. Or, oh, you know what, our audience is very Twitter heavy. Let's really promote Twitter, make that the heavier one. You could see some really good testing from the folks who run the OK Trends blog, which is the blog on OkCupid. They initially had a little drop down that would drop over the page, and it had all the different places you could share. And then what they actually did is over time you could see them testing, and they wiped it all out and they replaced it with just Facebook. Because Facebook was the best converting one, and they figured out that essentially if they just had one network where they promoted sharing, people would share on that network more than if they had 3 or 4 combined. And remember, people are going to take URLs that they like and share on the platform of their choice, whether you're pushing them or not. So it's not like this is going to kill all their Twitter traffic. They're still getting plenty of those. But they're saying Facebook is the one that converts best for us, gets us the best click-through rate, and we think it's more valuable to have one network that we're promoting on these pages that we want shared than it is to have multiples. So hopefully this Whiteboard Plus has been helpful. Hopefully you can do a much better job figuring out the answer to all these questions around sharing and platforms. I know this is a lot of work. I wish you luck, and I hope that your bosses realize what a tremendous value you're providing and your clients, and give you a nice raise for all this extra social media work that the world's bringing your way. Take care, everyone.